Hi, this is Ray with PhoneArena and you're watching our Xperia Z1 video preview. Sony introduced its Xperia Z flagship in the beginning of the year, and while the smartphone had a lot going for it, it was still somewhat rough around the edges. With a lot of things to fix, Sony hasn't even waited until next year to introduce its new top model. Instead, the company is already gearing up to release its new flagship, the Xperia Z1. As we can all see right away, the Xperia Z1 is like a heavily upgraded version of its predecessor. It feels quite familiar, yet substantially improved in pretty much every area. By the looks of it, Sony has done more than enough in order to bring those elements where the Z was lacking to the necessary premium level. The Sony Xperia Z1 has almost the same external design as its predecessor, except it now features a nice metal frame around the sides, replacing the bland rubber material used by the Z. The phone's design looks much more complete now, and the feeling you get when you have the Xperia Z in your hands is that of working with a very high quality piece of machinery. Sadly, the Z1 happens to be significantly bulkier and heavier than the competition, including the GS4, the HTC One, and even the LG G2. The Sony Xperia Z is making full use of Sony's so-called triluminous screen technology, and the improvement in image quality since the Xperia Z is noticeable. The 5-inch 1080p display of the Z1 may not be a state-of-the-art IPS LCD panel, but it is very good indeed. As with any other 5-inch 1080p screen, the pixel density is incredibly high at 441 ppi. The Xperia Z1 also supports the so-called X-Reality image enhancement technology, which attempts to boost the quality of photos and videos viewed on the phone. The Sony Xperia Z1 comes with Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean, which is a bit disappointing, having in mind that Android 4.3 is already available to users of Nexus devices. On top of Android 4.2.2, we find Sony's custom user interface. Overall, the UI is not so in your face, but it is quite comprehensive. In our opinion, this is one of the most polished custom UIs for Android. It's certainly not the most feature-rich one, but it's quite lively, making it feel fun to use. All of the essential apps like phone, contact, messaging and so on have been customized. They are quite simplistic and straightforward, which isn't a bad thing, and thanks to their redesign, their appearance is in line with the rest of the user interface. Powered by the top-shelf Snapdragon 800 SoC, the Sony Xperia Z1 is a true beast. Performance will never be an issue with this handset, at least considering the current generation of software available for Android. Overall system performance is also great, with no visible hiccups or slowdowns. Sony has also installed a healthy 2 GB of RAM on the Xperia Z1, which guarantees smooth performance even when you have multiple heavy applications running in the background. The beefy 20.7 megapixel camera of the Sony Xperia Z1 is one of its key features. Thankfully, the user interface is very easy to use, especially when you're sticking with Sony's superior auto mode, which attempts to automatically pick the best settings for you depending on the scene you're trying to photograph. Still, Sony has also included a manual mode, which allows you to tweak a variety of different settings on your own. There are also some other interesting camera modes in the Xperia Z1. For example, there's InfoShot, which will attempt to give you useful information, or there's also Social Live, powered by Bamboozer, which lets you live stream up to 10 minutes of video directly to your Facebook feed. Since our Xperia Z1 unit doesn't run a final retail version of the software, we're unwilling to comment on the quality of the photos and videos that it captures right now. The Walkman music player is quite cool and simplistic. It sports some interesting features like Clear Audio Plus, which aims to give some more clarity to the sound, though it's basically a specific EQ preset. The loudspeaker of the Z1 is powerful enough, but its quality is really low. It's totally lacking any low frequencies, resulting in a high, harsh and unclear sounding. We can have some hopes that it will be a bit better once the phone hits retail, but chances aren't so good. With the Xperia Z1, Sony has finally become competitive. The Japanese company has been experiencing great difficulties during the last few years, but after a relatively lengthy transition, it seems it's finally catching up with the big players of the wireless industry. The big advantage that the Z1 has versus most Android products is design. Sony's phone is markedly classy and high-end. It's definitely bulkier than the competitive offerings though, which should be considered if you're on the lookout for a new high-end Android smartphone. For now, it looks like Sony has come up with a very capable smartphone, which, however, doesn't seem to be that much, if at all, better than the competition. Thanks for watching our video preview of the Sony Xperia Z1. If you'd like to learn more about this beautiful handset, visit us at PhoneArena.com.